Homeless at 15 and a millionaire by 39, Simon Squibb isn't your average Joe. He flipped the hand he was dealt and broke the wheel of the monotonous 9-to-5 grind for himself and for others too. From sleeping on the streets to selling companies for millions, join us as we dive deep into Simon Squibb's insane journey to building a multi-million-dollar empire. Early struggles, homeless to hustler. It's very easy to blame your fortune on the conditions you were born in. For someone with a brutal childhood, he could have had 1,000 excuses. Imagine losing your father at 15, the loss shattering your family so much it results in a breakdown of your relationship with your mother. Where does a 15-year-old go? Well, Squibb turned to the streets. Things spiraled from there, and he was turned away from employers because he didn't have a national insurance number then either. Without a roof over his head, empty pockets, and no parental figure, he had to improvise to survive. Simon's improvisation came in the form of entrepreneurship. Soon, he opened his very own gardening company, taking on small landscaping jobs to make ends meet. It was far from being his big break, but he earned enough to find temporary shelters and put food on the table. Looking back, you could say, this was the most important time of Simon's life. It made him the man he is today. That first gig taught him the fundamentals of business, hustling, persevering, and relying on creativity rather than giving into despair. Building an empire, the success of Fluid. The lessons learned from his landscaping business became the foundation of Squibb's next move, his big break. He'd learned very quickly that despite being a hard worker, a 9-to-5 routine wasn't going to cut it for him. After all, if your first business was successful, you'd definitely stick to what you know. Simon did the same, and just like that, ventured into the hustle and bustle of Hong Kong with just an idea. That idea turned into his most successful company, Fluid, a branding and marketing agency in Hong Kong. Now here we had someone with zero formal business training, no financial backing, and most importantly, no connections. Once again, it was his street-learned resilience that helped him launch Fluid way back in 2000, when there wasn't a market for such a business anyway. Fluid went on to become a major hit. Simon put his heart and soul into the business, understanding why certain brands stood out and others didn't. He then used these lessons to turn Fluid into a major player in the creative industry. Just like that, all of Simon's hard work paid off. Fluid's success skyrocketed, earning millions in revenues with an ever-expanding client base. By 2016, the company had become so valuable, a global powerhouse, PricewaterhouseCoopers acquired it. This was a life-changing sum for Squibb, turning him into a multi-millionaire entrepreneur. Giving back, the Help Bunk, and the Purposeful Project. Now that Simon had officially made it, he could have comfortably retired without a care in the world, but that was never the plan. You see, he didn't forget his roots. He made it his life's mission to ensure more people escape the rat race and break free financially. Unlike some of the other well-to-do entrepreneurs, Squibb wasn't just talking. He had a plan, and he put it to action. That's why, in terms of legacy, the Help Bank and the Purposeful Project are Simon's biggest contributions to society. They're resources helping young entrepreneurs by providing them with insights about how to create a successful startup. They also help connect young people with ideas to people who can bring their ideas to life with the right kind of investment. After all, it is better to teach someone how to fish rather than hand them a fish, right? It's like his very own Shark Tank. But a step further, he's something of a modern-day philanthropist with a digital twist. Yeah, Simon approaches strangers in the streets, funding their startup ideas, and he's making the most of his social media reach by inspiring people to break the cycle, like he did, leading by example and action. Big Heap. Net worth and investments. Of course, the biggest perk of being a successful entrepreneur is having all that dough. Per the latest information, the 50-year-old has a net worth of $630 million. He's halfway to becoming a billionaire, but that's not high on his priority list. It's just another feather in his cap because he's not obsessed with money. Squibb has been constantly investing in opportunities he believes have potential, and over the years, he's invested in 70 different companies. Some stand out more than others, like his investment in Table Yeti, a restaurant booking platform which allows restaurants to manage reservations more effectively. That's not all. It also helps out the customers by simplifying the booking process for them too. Notice the increase in podcasts in the last few years? Well, Simon saw it coming from a mile away as he bought into Podcast Radio, a platform that prioritizes content creators, curating and playing their podcasts 24/7. And any finance bro will tell you the importance of diversifying your portfolio. It's great advice. Even Squibb follows it because he's invested in a number of different projects like the Royal TW Water Company. and another one called Heights. The water one is quite self-explanatory, but you can't say the same about Heights, which remains one of his major investments. Heights focuses on wellness and nutrition, offering brain-boosting supplements. Apparently that's fetch these days. And of course, there are so many more. This is a pretty slick approach to investment, as it's not all about making bank. The focus here is on creating opportunities, which is another noble move from the great man. Bizarre purchases: Porsches, disused stairwell, and Lego sets. Don't think for a second that Simon doesn't know how to have fun. You could have all the money in the world, but if you only spend it practically, then did you even live? Like most others, Simon also made some big personal purchases. He bought a Porsche and drove it off the forecourt in Mayfair, but it was only a while later that he realized the Porsche owned him rather than it being the other way around. That's because a car of that quality requires a lot of upkeep, and Simon isn't a fan of the hassle. He believes there are a lot more important things to busy yourselves with, like Lego sets. That's right, he's obsessed with them, to the extent he's bought every single Lego set there is. That's a serious investment, and while he pretends to buy it for his son, it's actually Simon himself who sets them up. But that's not the most bizarre purchase the multimillionaire's ever made. That tag is reserved for a disused 4-story stairwell in London. Yeah, you heard that right. One that cost him upwards of $30,000. There is a story behind it, though, and it's another one that defines the kind of person Simon is. The stairwell holds a symbolic sentiment for him. It represents his mission to help others achieve their dreams. He's even added a doorbell on the staircase, inviting people to pitch their ideas. So, the next time you're in the area and have a business idea, don't forget to ring it. And there you have it, the sensational story of Simon Squibb and how he became a multi-millionaire. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comments if this story inspired you to do something similar too.